Hello, everybody. Time for another Answering Your Financial Questions Live, number 75. And just waiting for that to start up on the YouTube. Answering Your Financial Questions Live, number 7. There we go. Confirmed audio. So let's get going. All right, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when this show starts, Answering Your Financial Questions. And that's Saturdays and Sundays, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Alrighty, let's get into the questions. Reddit.com/r/Dave Ramsey is where we are. We sort by new, and I went ahead, since this is a longer question, I went ahead and opened the full question. And let's go. This is from Available Mouse 854. Help me decide. Alrighty. My wife and I are both 29 with a 1-year-old daughter and a little boy due in August. Congratulations. Life is good. We live in Dallas, Texas, and our take-home pay is about $120,000 a year after taxes. Wife and I were #blessed to receive a gifted house from my grandmother about 5 years ago, which is located in a private community on a lake. Houses in this area are increasing significantly in value each year because of the community and just because houses go up. And in city of Dallas, somewhere like that, probably there more than a lot of others. The house is worth about $600,000 when it was deeded to me, but that was mostly the value of the property as the home was built in 1972, okay? It needed a lot of work to be ready for babies running around inside. We considered a remodel, but after consulting with builders, chose to do a tear down rebuild about a year ago. And now the property and house are worth around $1 to $1.5 million based on comps. In the area, we owe $430,000 on the new house. So you get a house and land worth $6,000 deeded, assuming the grandmother had no debt on it. And so then because you get that, then you go into debt $430,000. Right? Payments are $3,200 a month, and we pay $350 in homeowner association dues every month. Our electric bill is around $280 and water around $90. All right? Wife is a teacher, but our dream is for her to be a stay-at-home mom and homeschool our children. And was that considered when we said let's go $430,000 into debt? I want that as well, but don't want to compromise our future either. I can't see us affording for her to stay home in the next 15 years with our current payments and income. Right? You cannot do everything. You cannot go into $430,000 in debt and also have only one parent working. That generally does not work unless the parent that is working makes a boatload of money. My question is, if we sold our house for over $1 million and bought another house in cash for $400,000 to $500,000 and invested the remaining money plus extra cash we would save each month without the homeowner association fees, depends on where you move to. They could have another HOA and lower taxes, could be. Would my return on investment put us in a better or worse spot at retirement than hanging on to our current home and paying it off and riding the equity as it goes up? Well, again, you can't do both things. You can't have mom stay at home and also keep that other house. The math does not work on that. I feel like for me, the equity on homes is a better investment than the stock market or less risky. But I would also love the peace of knowing my daughter is home with her mother and being well cared for and brought up with the values, principles, and curriculum that we choose. Any help is appreciated, obviously. I'm a Dave Ramsey fan, but there is no way he would give me time to explain all of this on his show or in a message. Well, I mean, it's a bunch of extra information. It's just, I mean, you didn't really need the story. You can just say we owe, without the inheriting. I mean, that certainly does add color to the story for sure. But you basically just need to go on the numbers, and that's most of the time what you need. And whatever people did in their lives doesn't really matter as far as what the next steps to be. Next steps would be to always follow the baby steps. And let's get those up here. Definitely sell the house. And then buy another house in cash for $400,000 to $500,000. Do you even need to spend that much? Granted, if you're staying around Dallas, there may not be much of a choice, but you can see if you can go lower than that. And the remaining money, you would apply those to the baby steps. So you would have your full emergency fund, assuming you have no other debt. Didn't say if it has other debt. And so if you're a Dave Ramsey fan, hopefully you don't have any other debt. And so let's assume that. So then you would have your full emergency fund out of that. And then you're investing, save some for kids, children in college. And you're paid off cash. So that would put you probably immediately into baby step 7, and she can stay home. So that's a lot better than holding onto the house, even though the market is definitely not as safe as the 99.9% that your house is going up in value. Almost every year would happen, as opposed to the stock market's going to be a little bit less than that, but you can still count on the stock market. So it just depends on what you want to do. That's the thing, what you and your wife decide to do. And so communicate, compromise, and if you can't do that, counseling. The 3 C's. And so that's what you would do on that case. But that's crazy. So the thing you got to catch here is that it was worth $600,000, and it was a 1972 build. And so that most of the value there was the land, okay? Because you inherit something worth $600,000, that doesn't mean, well, I'll just spend another $430,000 to do that. And so instead you could have skipped all that and just sold it as was and let somebody else do a tear down and rebuild on that property, and then you could have already been in the house that you will presumably buy now, and you'd be all set. And I'm sure Grandma would be very pleased with that, with you being in step 7. I know I would. Alrighty. Onion Garden says, weird mortgage situation, changing baby step order, question mark. That never happens. Baby step order changing never happens. There's a couple things that are in flux with it. Like there's some you can skip if they don't apply to you. If you're doing baby step 3B, which is down payment, and baby step 4 at the same time, you get to decide the allocation between those. So you don't have to do 15%. Dave says for up to 3 years you can not do any investment if you don't want to, or you choose to not to do so. So you can save up a larger down payment, and you have to do that when you're in a high cost of living area such as Dallas, Texas. But you wouldn't have nothing switches the order. If there's some kind of emergency, you just pause right where you're at and pile up cash. And then when the emergency's over, you unpause, and guess what? You're right back where you are. There's no switching it around. No switching it around, no moving ahead. All right, let's see what the weird situation is. I'll go ahead and open it. Oh, it's War and Peace here. No paragraphs, just all. Here we go. Wife, 28, and I, 33, bought a house in our hometown, then decided it had some features of the property that made it intolerable. Maybe you take more than one look at it before you buy it. I wonder what they are. Let's see. We have sold that house. Okay, so that's over. Making roughly $50K, okay, which will come to us probably early next week. All right, so didn't even need to be mentioned, really. And are currently living in a duplex owned by our parents, which they have offered to sell us at a fairly significant lower than market price. And because it's a direct seller mortgage, I'm frankly a little gray on why these details line up, but I understand the end result. We get a 5% interest rate, okay? So my mortgage will be $300,000 minus $30,000 deposit equals $270 at 5% for 15 years. So that means you need to be making $115,000, something like that. No, less than that. A little over 100,000 on a house whose comps are selling for about $450,000. Okay, thanks for the discount. I am currently unemployed, but let's buy a house anyway. Was a teacher that got cancer, which involved brutal treatment schedule. Then I rushed back into work after chemo, which led to another major health setback, but I'm getting back on the horse. Okay, great. And so, I mean, when you're undergoing that, I don't think you buy a house at that point. Without any useful market skills, I have roughly $5K monthly income. From VA disability that will shrink to roughly $3K January of 25. I plan on attending school in the fall under GI Bill. That's good, so that'll be paid for, but frankly that seems unlikely at this point for reasons below. She's a PhD student hoping to be in the job market. This is the time you do not buy a house, even if you do not have cancer. To start as a professor in fall 25 and make roughly $1,500 a month. Total income would be 6.5K. Right, if you can continue to work too. Or does that mean her? No, total income equals 6.5K a month. She's hoping to make $1,500 a month. Where's the extra 5 go? Oh, for your 5 from the disability, but that's only for another less than a year. So that's like you almost don't include that at all. So you really can't do that because that's all. I mean, that's what, 8 months? What is it? 8 months. We have a 1-year-old son. Currently, a small emergency fund was pretty drained during chemo, and again, this is why you don't buy a house. Maybe you did it before all that diagnosis. It's possible, but in your situation, you were not ready to buy a house. And I wonder, let's see, does that say, which they have offered to sell us at? Oh, okay, so you haven't done it yet. So yeah, don't do that. No. You can live there and rent there. That's fine. Don't take on that debt. Get your life figured out for us. Get it sorted. To me, this seems obvious. Gazelle intent. Oh, wait a minute. Currently, small emergency fund, roughly 10K worth of retirement. Yeah, I shouldn't have drained retirement. I mean, I get, with having to do chemo and such, I could see why you would turn to that, but that should be the absolute last thing that you would pull from retirement. To me, this seems like an obvious gazelle intense moment, and we should be pouring every nickel into this mortgage beyond repairing the starter emergency fund from the current 4-ish to a true 10K. $1,000. Any less would be, I don't know what that means. Any less would be frankly irresponsible by any metric in our spot. Which, if that's being Dave-ish, you're correct, but it's not really a movable point. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, you got so many things here you're not gonna bend on. Then what do you need somebody else's opinion for? I need to be getting every job that will have me selling the dog, etc. Right? Or it sounds like the way he just said it there, that sounds like they did buy the house, even though it was phrased they offered. So they offered it and you did it, and that was a mistake. Whereas my wife would like to treat it as a normal mortgage while I continue to. It is a normal mortgage. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't, you know, if you're considering your cancer diagnosis and having to get chemo, if you are still considering that an emergency, you would just be pausing the baby steps and you would be piling up cash to take care of that emergency. You would not be altering the baby steps and putting it towards a different thing. You want to try to pay off as in paying off the mortgage even before you get the full emergency fund. Let's see. So we could, in theory, make a smaller down payment and pay if you haven't bought it, don't freaking buy it. And pay my son's college prepay outright. The child is 1. How about you get your life together before you pay for the kid's college? However, I love my in-laws and can't imagine having anything but a corporate relationship with them while we owe them money, particularly such a large sum. I also don't know how to make the mental leap of considering it our house when I'm eating dinner with the actual owners a couple times a week. Other contexts when sale to us. A lot of mistakes in this. Happens, we will take over the profits and responsibilities of the other tenants who pay $1,200 in rent a month. Oh, so it's a whole building, and are you like a townhouse or something like that? And there's another. Okay. Is there any guidance in any kind of situation? Yeah, don't do any of it. You're not in a situation to buy a house, and it's certainly not in a situation to plan. Well, instead of having an emergency fund, I'm gonna do that. But this is all over the place, and I get it. I've not been diagnosed with cancer, and not received chemo, and so I don't know what that does to a person. No idea. But you're all over the place here, and so you're saying in one part you don't want to save up the emergency fund, and you do want to pay extra on the house instead. But then you say you don't want to buy the house and so forth. So, I mean, you need to discuss that with your wife and figure out what to do and quit thinking ahead so far. The child's college is the last thing you think about in your situation. That can be all taken care of later. Get your right now figured out first. So all over the place there, and that does happen sometimes, even without any medical things interfering with your life. That can still sometimes, for people, they still their brain can't help but jump all over the place when it needs to focus on the baby step you're doing right now. FedEx Vanguard Roth IRA setup help from NR Condi. Do any of you have a Roth IRA set up with your Vanguard account? No, I don't have a Vanguard account. And make contributions straight from your paycheck. Been trying to set it all up, but all I see is after-tax contributions and Roth 401k contributions. Well, for Roth IRA, it's all going to be after-tax contributions. There aren't going to be any pre-tax contributions in a Roth IRA Now, if you're talking about the Roth 401k contributions, that's a different thing. So if your employer is offering a Roth 401k and that also happens to be at Vanguard, you could see them both because you can't open both, you could see them both in the same account. So, but I don't know exactly what this person is talking about here. Make them straight out of the paycheck. I just moved the money myself. I didn't bother trying to make it. It takes 2 seconds to move money from your bank account to your brokerage. 2 seconds. That's all it takes. And so I didn't worry about trying to get it to go in automatically. But like if this whole thing, if your Roth IRA is being run by the same company that runs your work one, if you do have a Roth 401k, or if you're just not confused and calling it the wrong thing, then they probably could set that up easily to do that, just like your Roth 401k contributions would be going in there. And it should be just 15%. And a lot of people are confused by it. The only time you wouldn't do all of your 15% in the Roth 401k is if there are not all the good choices as far as mutual funds. If you're limited on choices in the Roth 401k and you wouldn't be in the Roth IRA, then that's when you would prioritize the Roth IRA. But otherwise, the Roth 401k is fine for all of your 15%. And if there's a company match, they actually have to open up a traditional IRA for you because they cannot put a match into the Roth 401k. So you would have both. So in this situation, you might have a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k, and a traditional 401k. But you wouldn't be putting in any contributions to the traditional 401k. It would just be your employer putting that match amount in. Should I just file for bankruptcy at this point? Let's see, 53 years old, divorced, kid is an adult, not dependent on me, don't own any real estate or even a car at this time last year. I had a decent job and about 15K in medical bills. I'm now looking at permanent disability, and in my state, SSD appeals take about 2 years to go through. I have spent about 2 months of the last 6 months in the hospital, including 5 surgeries. I still need 2 more surgeries in the next 2 months. My employer let me go in October because they needed to replace me. So I have almost no income at this point and don't even have anything to sell. I do get $1,200 a month alimony for life, but that has to pay for food and utilities, right? 4 walls first. Should I just wait until all the surgeries are over and file for bankruptcy on all the medical bills? Bankruptcy is always going to be your last option, and that you need to exhaust everything else you can do before bankruptcy. I've already spoken to the hospital and they've already discounted my bills as much as they are able. It's still looking like a minimum of $40K out of pocket, as a $1,500 deductible per night on overnight admissions, and I'm looking almost 40 nights, including 2 weeks in the ICU, another $250 deductible on ER visits, and I have more than a dozen, and a couple of expensive meds my insurance won't cover, plus 10 days in the psych ward, which my insurance won't cover at all. They don't do mental health. Interesting. There is no way whatsoever I can pay for all this, bankrupt it, or just go to collections and not pay it. I know medical bills go away in my state after 7 years. Yeah, so why do bankruptcy when you can just not pay it? And then if something happens where you can settle for it, do that. But you can also try to arrange payment with the medical facility. And also, they also have programs in place for this exact same kind of thing at many, many hospitals. medical institutions is the word I was looking for there. So investigate all that to see if they have something like that. The worst of it is I feel really badly because my one surgeon saved my life, right? Hate to not pay him, especially since with my health issues, he's probably going to be doing surgery on me 1 to 2 times a year for the rest of my life. Yikes. All right. I don't know how that works. I don't think they don't pay the surgeon for that. I think the surgeon gets paid still. It's the hospital that would take the loss if you don't pay. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, bankruptcy should be the last your last option. As you said, you could just not pay it, and then the medical bills go away after 7 years apparently. So. Little Reuters article: Biden cancels $6 billion in student loan debt for 78,000 public service workers. Of course he did. Locking in those votes for next November. This coming November. Underscore Isaac suggestions: 32, make 250 to 300K a year and have 400K cash. Pay cash for house. Yes. I discovered Dave quite some years ago and went from somewhat extreme with his advice in that he said not to take a mortgage, so I forwent buying a house for years. I chose to live at home, and I still live at home. That means with parents. People always say I live at home. Home is where you live. I mean, so I guess technically it would be, but home is not necessarily with parents, but people call it I live at home. That means with parents in this case. I live at home now, and it's not with parents. To stockpile cash to purchase the home or condo for cash. Yeah, and that's what he suggests. He won't yell at you if you take out a mortgage and that's your only debt. And as long as it's in his parameters for how much money, so you're not house poor. But he does suggest that you pay cash if you're able to. I do have some stock investments, but I'm stubborn and don't want to pay high interest rates on a home. That being said, I'm looking for some ideas on what to do, since the idea of buying condo or home does not sound very exciting at all. Overall, I'm a bit dissatisfied with where I live, Southern. I mean, you need to figure out what you want to do. This is not knowing what you want to do. Sounds like, oh my goodness, a lot more than I thought it was. Southern California. But I have a growing business that enables me to live here comfortably. Well, it's up to you if you want to stay there then. You can always run your business elsewhere. I often fantasize about moving to a walkable urban city like London, New York, or Milan. Hey, guess what? That's going to be just as expensive. But the nature of my business here in California makes that not practical unless I make enough to hire employees to run it in about a year or two. Buying a $650K or so condo in cash would be possible, or a mortgage on a larger property. I have no debt whatsoever. Well, that part is great. And in California, I mean, $650K, that might be like median price, but do you have to pay that much? But I'm starting to wonder if it's even worth having that type of money tied up in a house at all. Sure it is. Because worst comes to worst, you can always sell it and get that cash back. I could continue to make passive income on the money, which could eventually yield freedom from work. That would be called debt leverage. If you do that, if you have the money and can pay for your house, or if you already had the mortgage and can pay your house off, not paying it off on purpose to earn interest on that money, that's debt leverage, and Mr. Ramsey is not down with that, which you certainly know with your vast experience with Dave. And since you were supposedly gazelle intense at one time. Anyway, I guess my question is, what would you do in my position? I would follow Dave's advice. And if I had the cash to buy it, I would buy it. You got to decide whether you want to stay there or not, though. But any the other places you want to go are going to be probably just as expensive. So let's see. Come from a family of landlords and perceive rent as a waste of money. So I'm not moving out of the mom's house unless it makes fiscal sense, or unless the rent is wholly covered by passive income. My mom insists that buying a property is the way to go because you'll always need a place to live. Dave would probably say move out of your mom's house and grow up. Yes, he would. So you know exactly what Dave would say. I love it when people think they're confused. Oh, I don't know what the advice is. You know what his advice is. It's just up to you whether you want to follow it or not. But I'm also staying here to save to pay cash for a house per his rules. You're not doing one of his rules, so you could do another one of his rules faster. So you can justify that however you would like. But yeah, he would say, I mean, you don't have to do anything that Dave says. You can do exactly what you want to do. But if you want Reddit's opinion, and in this case you get my opinion too, that would be to live on your own and maybe look for a cheaper house than you're talking about. California people are nutty sometimes, like where, 650K is the lowest possible house you could get, right? There's nothing less. Like you could, I have a little bit longer commute to work, and depending on what the work is, didn't say. So I don't know if he's running that out of his mom's house or not. But, just jumping immediately to a 650K property. If it's just yourself, then you don't need a big house. And so you're maybe looking at it from landlord family perspective where, you got to get multiple rooms in this so it'll be worth this. No, you're looking for a place for you to live is what you're doing. You're not looking at it with the idea of, later I'm going to blah, blah, blah. No, you're looking for a place for you to live. If you're looking for a rental property, you do have to pay all cash for that one, according to Dave rules, which again, I'm assuming you will know. And of course, put the flare in here and the original poster. Isaac did this himself. What would Dave, And you know darn well what Dave would do, sir. Whoops. Close the baby steps. So sorry, I don't think I'll need them because they're right there. I have trouble understanding what I should be doing. Muslim_conservative. All right. I mean, that does happen. Let's expand it. That does happen. More and more, I'm getting more. I didn't think it was that difficult, but more and more, I'm seeing people that either don't understand or they just want to do something different. Probably a mixture of both. But steps 1, 2, and 3, you do in order, one at a time. So you save the $1,000 and you don't save up 1 cent extra unless it's a sinking fund to pay for an upcoming expense. But other than that, you don't save up 1 cent extra than the $1,000. All that goes on to debt. And you don't expand the $1,000 to your full emergency fund until all of that non-mortgage debt is gone. 1, 2, and 3 in order, one at a time. Baby steps 4, 5, and 6. That is 4, 5, and 6 in order still, but all at the same time. So you're taking your snowball that you were adding your $1,000, getting your $1,000 with, and then you applied that snowball, which means extra money after your expenses, after you cut your budget down, because most people would have to do that after not following Dave's advice and saying, now I'm going to follow his advice. There would be stuff that you don't need that you think you need. And so you can take that out of the budget. And then you have more snowball amount left, which that means, again, anything extra after you paid your necessities. And so then that amount you would, then after you paid off all the debt with that, then all of that money at that point, because you're not making minimum debt payments anymore, so you have all of that money each month, plus the original amount of the small snowball you started with, you have all of that, and then you funnel that each month into your full emergency fund. And then when your full emergency fund is full, then you have all of that snowball to funnel into steps 4, 5, and 6. And so you would first invest 15% of your gross income into retirement, and anything left out of that snowball amount, you can, if baby step 5 is applicable, you could save for kids' college, choose to do so. And you only need to put a little bit away if they're young children, only a little bit away at the time. And then anything that is left after that, then you would put extra on the principal of your mortgage. But yeah, a lot of people don't understand that for some reason. And again, it doesn't say that on there. 1, 2, and 3 in order, one at a time, 4, 5, and 6 in order. But they try to keep the graphic somewhat, not so cluttered probably and easy. But it would have never occurred to me to start trying to do them all at the same time or anything like that, like people think they need to do for some reason. Uncertain what steps to take. As I contemplate my financial situation, I find myself considering the possibility of maximizing contributions to my HSA, IRA, and 401k. However, I'm also questioning whether this approach is sustainable in the long term. Well, Baby Step says 15% of your gross income. No more than that until you get to Baby Step 7, which means your house is paid off. Or if you have decided to rent for life, or at least for the time being, you're in Baby Step 7 if you don't have any debt and you have your full emergency fund and you're investing 15%. Congratulations. Let's see. Recently enrolled in a high deductible health plan and became eligible for HSA, right? Additionally, I still have until April 15th to contribute to or max out my Roth IRA, right? Oh, you mean for 2023. So yes, you can do that before tax day. In the current year, you can still contribute to the previous year's retirement accounts if they haven't been, including HSA, I think, if they haven't been maxed out yet. Excuse me. After crunching some numbers, it seemed feasible for me to max out all 3 accounts if I manage my budget carefully. Okay, what about it? Then there's this other account that my friend, who is a financial advisor, signed me up for 3 years ago. He hashtag mentioned it's a retirement account, but when I log in, it doesn't explicitly state it's for retirement. He just says life paid at 99. I bet it's whole life. Over the past 3 years, I've contributed to $120 a month, totaling $43.20. I earn $52 annually. So yeah, you don't let your friend, quote unquote friend, do that to you. I don't know. Yeah, life paid at 99. I don't get it. But yeah, if it's whole life, find out which. It may not even say whole life anywhere on it. That's how shady they are about it. Earn $52K annually, and my monthly expenses include $500 for rent, $150 for food, and $300 for gas and insurance. Leaving me with only, oh, so sorry, with only $100 if I decide to contribute to all 3 accounts. Do you have all your, I'm assuming all debts paid off in full emergency fund? I already have $30,000 in savings, okay? And so that sounds a lot to be your full emergency fund, so that's too much in savings, so you're doing it wrong. My main question is whether it's wise for me to contribute to all 3 accounts. If you're renting, assuming maybe you don't have children, and and you're investing at least 15% of your gross income, you're in step 7. So at that point, you can have extra liquid cash. Not advisable, really, because you can make more money on it in the market, or at least a high yield savings account, which it may already be in as far as the emergency fund might be. But so unless you're in step 7, you don't do more than the steps say to do for that particular step. And it's never, oh, do more than that before you get to step 7. It's never that. You only do more than the amount, than the 15% for investing. You only save more than your emergency fund. If it's a sinking account for a specific upcoming expense, you can do that. But just a general more savings, you do not do unless it's an emergency. And if it's an emergency situation, you pause the baby steps anyway, and all you're doing is piling up cash. Beyond paying minimums on any debts and paying expenses, of course. Main question is, the only downside I foresee is having just $100 left each month. Yeah, I wouldn't do that probably, which means I wouldn't be able to invest in the stock market if there's a stock I want to buy. Well, we don't do single stocks, and we don't do day trading like that either. So that's not really a Ramsey thing you're talking about. Having lost a significant amount in my early 20s due to gambling on meme stocks. But definitely, I want to buy more stocks and play with them more. And sports betting. I'm determined to handle my finances more responsibly this time. What would be the best course of action in this situation? As always, best course of action is the baby steps. Always. What if I'm 5 years? What if in 5 years maybe I get married and have kids? What about it? Do people still max everything out? That's what I fear in the future. It would depend on whether that. So let's pretend that you are doing everything right, and so that would put you in baby step 7, because you're investing, sounds like, more than 15%, and you don't have kids. You're renting. And so that would put you in baby step 7. So basically you can do whatever you want right now. But the second you get married, if you want to buy a house, then that's going to be the issue. And then you would do more down payment saving and just invest 15%. And actually you can go down to 0 for 3 years to save a larger down payment faster. And so, I mean, it seems like you're in at least okay shape, assuming that there's no debt. Otherwise, I didn't see that in there anywhere. Just the zest that people have for, I got to max everything out. Baby steps take priority over, I got to max everything out. So, a couple questions about the situation, like didn't say anything about debt, so I don't know about that, but definitely renting, and I'm assuming no children, and so can skip step 5, and so that's what would put this person, I believe, on step 7, which at that point you can pretty much do whatever you want except put yourself in a lower baby step, other than step 3B if you do get married and want to buy a house, or you want to buy a house on your own. You can do that, but you definitely would not go back into step 2 with any kind of non-mortgage debt. So, trouble understanding what you should be doing. It's just because you don't want to understand by doing the baby steps. Sounds like to me, but again, we don't have all the information, unfortunately. Just like on a lot of the calls that Dave gets on the Ramsey Show. Oh, speaking of Ramsey Show, Ramsey Show After Show on April 3rd, which is a Wednesday, and April 18th, which is a Thursday. Those will be coming up. Completed baby step 2 today from Hankadoo. Completed baby step 2 today. I paid off my truck, $23K since October. Feels so good to be debt free. On the baby step 3, love this journey. Baby step millionaire works. It absolutely does. He right. What would Dave do? Car repossessed. He would not be in a situation where his car would get repossessed. Probably got a lot of, I knew this was going to be a big list. Okay. But, you know, sometimes better too much information than not enough, like in the last situation there. Income, $88K gross. So student loan, $50K. Car loan, $36K, and you weren't paying on it, apparently. Personal loan, $12K in collections. Personal loan, $10K in collections. Credit cards, $2.5K. $125 per month. Everything you're doing here is bad. I want you to know this. Expenses, rent, $1,600. Food, $400. If you're by yourself, $100 a week is excessive. Utilities, $300. Internet and phone, $100. Laundry, $40 a month. I put that into my rent, and I have always. That's my luxury item for me would be the in-unit laundry, wash machine, and dryer. Car insurance, $125 per month. Child support, $782 a month. That will take a bite. Court orders, 2 of them. Alimony, $650 a month. Previously, $800. Previously on alimony. No savings, no retirement to withdraw. 1 son, unable to move until lease ends at the end of August. I'm getting part-time job to supplement the income. That is fabulous news. Car was repossessed last night and is required for work. My parents are graciously assisting me this weekend to get a beater car for less than $5K and call the repo a loss. Is that the best plan? What would Dave do? Unless you can unrepo it, because repoing it, if you can stop that process from happening somehow, you should do that instead. See if they will take less than $5K to get that car back, and then you just need to make sure you pay it. So, but it depends if that is, the repo is the way you're gonna owe the most money to them. And so, yeah, sounds like you got the problem, and you let it get to that point where the car would be repossessed. So the thing to do would have been to spend maybe $50 a week on food and pay the car payment would have been the thing to do this whole time. But some people have to have this kind of stuff happen before they say, oh, this is real. But, people are in denial and so forth. And, divorce, I get it. And so $782 a month for child support and $650 for alimony. That's 13. What is that? That's over $1,400. And what's the income? 88, $60K take home. So that's $5,000 a month. So 25% about is child support and alimony. So I get it, but you are overspending in some of these areas, and you say you're going to move when the lease ends for that rent. Perhaps you were not, perhaps you had help with the rent from the ex-wife at the time, and then it all fell in on you, and you did nothing to correct until life made you correct by having your car repossessed. Brett Nerd, car conundrum. My wife has been wanting a new car, likely an Acura, Alexa, Cadillac, Volvo level. She doesn't drive much or far as a stay-at-home mom of an 8-year-old. Why does she want a new car then? She has a 2010 Maxima with 85K miles on it. Why does she want a new car then? That car could last another 10 years, but basically has no trade-in value, $2,500 or so. So you're gonna buy a new car just so you have trade-in value? Dumb. I have an SUV also paid off and don't have a need for a third car. Yep. So what's the play? Just bite the bullet knowing I am giving up a good car for almost nothing. By the way, we are in baby step 7. No debt and would pay cash for the car, approximately $50K. Talking about a new car, you have to have $1 million net worth in order to buy a new car. And as you can get a new to her car that's maybe only a few years old, and you pay cash for it, which may be if it's only going to be $50K. So that's maybe exactly what they're talking about, a used car, and it's just new to her, but one of those, and it's just something newer. So yeah, the fact that you're on baby step 7, that changes things. But again, unless you guys are millionaires, no new cars is the advice of Mr. Ramsey. The show again today, proudly brought to you by Crinkly Water Bottle. Whiskey E-Jack. This person has posted before. What is my 27-man obligation to take care of my parents financially? Hey everyone. Hi guys. 27 male, don't mean to sound cold, but I was wondering what the consensus on this is. My parents were not bad people, but they are to this day financially illiterate. That happens. There was no plan, no sport growing up. Paycheck to paycheck. Same. My brother and I essentially hit the ground running. What is it? And to the rules and you hit the ground running. Have fun. Something like All-Star by Smash Mouth. To fend for ourselves in the real world. Rocking in the real... No, that's free world. Beans and rice, rice and beans. Right. Working full time since 17. Excellent. Fast forward to now, my wife and I have built our life around financial literacy. Excellent. And are on track to debt-free with 30% retirement contribution. All right. Well, it sounds like you got into debt, though, despite the beans and rice thing. Or maybe that's just a recent thing that you found out about that could happen. And that it doesn't have to be like your parents did it. On track to be debt-free with 30% retirement contribution. Okay, eventually, hopefully. We're both admitting where is it? Yeah. We're both admittedly young with no kids, okay? I feel like for me that I've started to take on the role of successful family member. I guess, I mean, in trying to do anything intentionally with money other than just spend all of it, you know, you don't, it sounds like with your parents, it sounds like you don't have to do much good in order to be the, you know, the GOAT, the greatest of all time of the family. So, fine. Brother fell off into the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. Yep, that'll happen. As my wife, you know, it gets modeled for you, and so you think that's the normal thing, and you think that's fine. As my wife and I begin to comfortably afford a better quality of life, I started to get some comments from my parents separately, as they are divorced, implying that we will be taking care of their retirement, along other weird things, such as my mother asking me in private if I am a millionaire. Not yet, Mom, but you don't get there by being loud. You get there by being quiet and following the baby steps. How do I navigate? Well, here in the Estados Unidos, we are not, everything for the parents like some cultures are. And I get that some cultures are like that, and that's your choice. If you want to do that, you do that. But you don't have to reward their bad financial behavior. And if she's talking about you having to take care of their retirement, then they're not stopping doing things that are bad financially. And so you don't reward that. And so I would say, well, you know, I might be able to help out some, but I'm not going to be the meal ticket. I have to take care of my family And if you want to get cold about it, you can say, I'm going to take care of my family in the way that you guys didn't take care of my brother and I. By living the way that you were living. And so I'm living better. And that way of living better means I can't pay for the rest of your life. So you can say, use not nicer words than that. Definitely phrase it better than that. But that's basically what you have to do. And as long as you still have debt, so although you may be the golden child in that family, but you still got work to do on yourself, and plus it's your wife involved, so it's another person involved here with it. And so you guys have to put on your oxygen mask before you can assist others. And so definitely take care of your stuff and make sure that's all good before deciding whatever help you can give to them, if any. So, and that, again, that's not necessarily, it seems to be mostly that way in the United States, where that is certainly acceptable to not be, anything for parents. Revolutionary ad 374, do throttle back. Meaning, do I throttle back on paying so much in taxes? Generally, I mean, taxes suck. Government do take a bite, don't she? But generally, if you work more, even if you have to pay more taxes, you are still getting more money than you had before. So it just depends on whether it's worth it to you as you move up in tax bracket, where that line is for. Okay, so, like when you make enough to where government's taking half of the money, is it worth you to work that extra hour knowing that the government's going to take half of it? And so that's your decision on that, dog. So I usually get an income tax check for $10K to $14K because you're doing it wrong. You should change your withholding immediately so you have that money during the year and not have the government saving it for you by you giving them an interest-free loan. That is the worst thing you can do with $10K to $14K, is let the government take it out of your check a little at a time and then give it back to you with no interest. None on my taxes all year. Should I throttle my taxes so that I only receive $200 or owe $200? Yes, you want to get it as close to zero as you possibly can. You don't have to like change it a little bit every year until you hit that right at zero. But like 200 is way better than $14,000. You know how much good financial stuff you could have done for your life and over having that $14K spread out evenly over your paychecks. A lot. I received this information from the book Break Free from Broke, written by George Camel. And I quote, change your tax withholdings in 2023. Yes, the average IRS tax fund was $2,753. That was Mara gift, not a gift from the government. Maybe not a gift from the government. This means people overpaid all year and gave Uncle Sam an interest-free loan. Yeah, see, this is where I get this stuff. All of this stuff comes from the Ramsey advice. That's where George got it for his book. That's all Ramsey advice there. If you're expecting to continue to get tax returns above $500, look into decreasing your withholdings. P.S. There's a helpful article. Let's see where the helpful article is. Helpful article that went through this at georgecamel.com/resources. Okay, yeah. A $2,400 tax refund means you could have taken home an extra $200 per month. Instead, instant margin. Exactly right. So yes, you do that. So, I mean, George put it right there in his book. And so if you bought his book and you're on the Dave Ramsey subreddit, why would you think that wouldn't apply to you? I don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, the book explained it to you why that's better for you. So I don't understand the question, why it would even be asked, but I don't get it. I don't know what part you missed about that. There's no situation where it's better for you to get a lump sum at the end of it rather than you having that $200 extra each month, because you can do better with it, even if it's not paying off debt or adding your emergency fund or anything like that. You can invest in it and you can actually make interest on it. Help. What should we do? Sell or stay? Maybe a third option. Let's see. Help. We have a hard time figuring out what to do. Seems like this is going to be a longie. Hey, not too bad. We have a ton of equity in our house. How much equity is that? The market has boomed in our area, and our current home has the potential to give us financial freedom. Only if you sell it or do a home equity loan, which that is not advised, in case you were wondering. We have about $6,000 in payments, including for our second home, which we do not want to sell. Well, then you keep the first home then. Or you move into that second home, and you don't need two houses. And cars. You got car debt too. Everything you're doing here is bad. I want to tell you this. We send our kids to private school. Everything you're doing here is bad. I want to tell you this, which is about $30,000 a year. We aren't saving as much as we should. But my husband has a pension for retirement, so that is good. All right. With 5 kids, life is expensive, yes, and you make it even more expensive by doing dumb loans on cars and buying a second home. Having 2 houses, even though you owe money on them, both, I think you owe money on them both, but having 2 houses, you're not going to get sympathy from anybody on that. My husband has an extremely secure job. I have a great job with benefits, but it's a job with my toxic family, and there's a possibility it will not last much longer, possibly 5 years. Definitely not beyond 10. I would start looking for another job right now since they're toxic. What are you waiting on? Again, this is everything that's happening here is your fault. Everything. Without my income, we could not afford our lifestyle. Don't have a lifestyle. Who said you get to have a lifestyle? Our debt is also private loans from my crazy family. Well, that's unfortunate. And again, guess whose fault that is? You're the one that signed for it. I'm assuming you signed for him. If it's not in writing, it didn't happen, but ethically, you should pay them back. We live in a beautiful house on a beautiful small farm. So you can't do everything at once. You can't have the lifestyle and have 2 homes and all that stuff and not have the income as well. It doesn't work like that. That's voodoo math or something like that. Like, who said that? George Bush, when he was vice president. We see 3 options. Sell our house. Let's see if I can come up with a different one. Sell our house, move to a town nearby in a regular house. Oh, not a farm. It's maybe a farmhouse. And be able to live solely on my husband's income. All debt would be paid off. Yeah. Not to be dependent on my job, be able to keep our kids in the school that we love. No more farm life, which is super sad to us. Well, you want to be happy and be in that kind of financial situation and be working with toxic family? So you get to decide these things. We can't decide these things for you. And basically all the Ramsey advice is based on the numbers, and then you have to work out whatever emotional stuff is going on that have to do with them. And so because we don't have that, we don't know if your family's actually toxic or not, or you just have a bad relationship with them. We don't know what's going on with that, so we can't tell you that. No more farm life, super sad. Okay, move 50 minutes north where there's a lot more bang for our buck. Be able to own a farm outright. Pay off all debt. Are you okay? So if you're not working the farm, you don't need to be on a farm. Pay off all debt, not be dependent on my job, would have to put kids in a new but very good school. 50 minutes from family who moved to be near us, not the crazy ones. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Often suggested. Move away from where it's so expensive. Continue the status quo. That doesn't seem like that's a good idea, so I'm not even gonna read the rest of that. Status quo, not good. Any advice will be awesome. We are struggling. You're struggling because of the choices you make. And so nobody's fault but you can fix it. And that would be to sell and buy. And no second homes. You don't need a second house. What is that? Oh, we're struggling with paying bills and stuff. You got 2 houses. Gosh. Yeah, right. That'll be great on the, that'll be a great short, won't it? Steve yells at people. Dude skills. Should I withdraw from my 401k? I'm starting my debt-free journey and I'm wondering if it makes sense. S-E-N-T. S-E, excuse me. To do a withdrawal from my 401k to knock out a good sized portion of my debt out quickly. No withdrawing from a retirement account. No, do it the hard way. Have it suck. Have it be sacrifice. And that will make much more an impression on you. And that will change your financial behavior forever. Instead of you do a little quick fix like this. And then you have a 401k loan. You can take out the contributions, but that's not recommended either. No, do it the hard way. Do-neighborhood 9632. How am I doing? Hello there. I am 39 and have no credit card debt. All right, let's go ahead and open it. Actually, let's do the mid-roll credits. Actually, I might not do 2 hours, so it might be over the mid-roll. Let's do the mid-roll plugs. I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you got money problems or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation assessment with me. Normally at calendly.com/coachstevemoney. I hope to get that back up and working very soon, but it started displaying my availability incorrectly for some reason. So I got to figure that out. So in the meantime, if you'd like that appointment, which is done via video conferencing, so you can do that from anywhere in the whole wide world. Please speak English because I can do a little Spanish, but I don't know all the financial terms. Just email me, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. You can additionally email me about coaching or anything else on my YouTube channel. coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Channel donations can go to paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively, as you can see in the ticker below, that would be Cash App, $CoachSteveMoney, or just a Walmart gift card to coachstevemoney@gmail.com. There's also YouTube on the lives. There's the, what is that called? I can't remember. Super chats, and on pre-recorded videos that would be called super thanks. You can have me on the gram at Coach Steve Money. Of course, the YouTube channel is youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. And I did just put up a new video that I did with a guy that is a bigger Oak Island nerd than I am. I'm pretty nerdy about it. This guy leaves me in the dust, and so he is awesome. And so we did a great time. We did, like, the first one was like 1 hour and 10 minutes. Felt like it was no time at all. Just like almost all the streams that I do. And so that's why I keep doing them, whether I eventually make any money out of them or not. And back to the questions. Okay, how am I doing? Hello there. General Kenobi. I am 39. I have no credit card debt. I have approximately $37,000 liquid hot magma saved. I owe $15K on the car at $360 a month. No student loan debt. All right. I don't understand. I never understand it. I was in debt before, but I also didn't have a bunch of money saved up too. I don't know why you would ever do that. Why would you be in debt, which is a negative, and have the money saved up? Why would you do that? Beyond emergency fund. Emergency fund, sure, but beyond that, why would you have more saved up instead of paying off the debt? The reason I had debt was because I didn't have the money to pay it off. So didn't have an emergency fund, didn't have any savings. So that I understand. This stuff that people do this all the time, I don't know. So they owe money so that they can get something that they want and owe money on it so that they don't have to give up the cash that they have. I don't understand that. I have a small pension I've earned at $65,700 a month and just started saving in my 401k, about $7,000 saved after 1 year. You're doing it wrong. If we refer to the baby step list, it says investing is all the way at baby step 4 and paying off debts, the non-mortgage debts, is baby step 2. So that would be, you're doing it wrong. Monthly net is $33.50. My raises contract are largely set, and I am putting a down payment on a house, trying to do everything all at the same time, which will leave me at $5,000 in cash and a monthly mortgage of $800 per month. So that you're doing it wrong again, because even after you buy a house, you should still have your full emergency fund, and you need to do that because you're buying the house. So if something breaks in it, guess what? You have to fix it. As of October, my monthly net will increase to $3,600, and I will soon exceed $4,700 net within 5 years. You hope. That's not ironclad. Anything could happen where that wouldn't happen. I know that not everything I do is Ramsey. What part is? I'm looking for a part that is. I don't see any part that is Ramsey. But I have avoided debt. What? I've avoided debt, and once I pay off the car, maybe the debt was had previously. So, and it's just on a car. Maybe this person thought that the car was an exception to the debt rule. Car debt is still debt, but maybe let's give this person the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, they got the car loan before figuring out who Dave Ramsey was, before she found out about Dave. So let's think that. Let's think the best about people. But you're still doing everything wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're not taking his advice at all as far as the order you're doing things in. Let's see. I avoided debt, and once I pay off the car, except for the car. But again, maybe she means since she discovered Dave. Anyway, I think it's a she. Did you say she? I don't know. Once I pay off the car, I will begin paying an extra $1,000 on the mortgage monthly, with the goal of being mortgage free by 48. Go easy on me if you can. How am I doing? You're doing it wrong. Everything you're doing there is bad except the no debt now. So you would throw that 37. So no house buying. So we pause on the house buying. We push the pause button on the house buying. Okay? You do that. And then you go over to this baby steps list that right here is conveniently, extremely conveniently on the right here, and it's extremely conveniently numbered so you know which one to do first. And that's to save $1,000 fast as possible. So good, you got that with your $37K saved, which you think is your down payment. Pay off debts from smallest to largest using debt snowball method. pay off the car immediately. House buying is off the table temporarily. Get rid of the car debt. No house buying. So you'll have money left over that you can start your full emergency fund, maybe even enough to be the full emergency fund if you're single and you have 3 months of expenses. If you have no life or job drama in your life, 3 months emergency fund is absolutely fine. And so maybe that takes care of your emergency fund. So assuming you have that, so then you would be done with baby step 3, and then you would be on step 3B, which is to save that down payment. And so then you don't touch the emergency fund. Emergency fund is not your down payment. Repeat after me, everybody. Emergency fund is not down payment. And then you can start saving on the emergency fund. And guess what? You don't even need to invest while you're doing that. You can be out of investing for 3 years to save up a larger down payment if you need to. Otherwise, you do step 3B, save for down payment, and invest at the percentage you choose. The ratio can be what you choose between those two. You do that at the same time. So, but before I buy a house, my advice is always you do 6 months of expenses if you have an emergency. And a lot of people, back to that, a lot of people think that that all of their current expenses are in their expenses in the emergency fund. They don't need to be. For example, the amount that you are investing, that doesn't need to be part of your emergency fund. When you say 3 to 6 months of expenses, if you're in an emergency, you're not going to be investing. You stop investing. Even if it's a short emergency, you stop investing during that time. All right. So, but what you're doing is you, again, trying to do everything all at the same time, trying to have debt and trying to pay that off, but yet also have extra savings for the down payment, and also investing into the 401k, trying to do it all at the same time, and that's not how it's done. And you're going nowhere fast there. Basically running in a circle is what you're doing. And so you're going to put a lot more miles on yourself by doing that and trying to do all this all at the same time. So no new house. 20%, which will leave me at $500 in cash. No, it won't, because you're not going to do that if you're going to follow Dave's advice. So, but that, of course, is up to you, because that is your life and your money, and we don't have to be a part of any of that, except for commenting here on the Reddit. Alrighty, feedback. Scarlet Fire 21. All right. 28 man, single. I've been debt free since January 2022, and since then I've managed to increase my nest egg even more with Gazelle intensity. Great. Paid my truck off, paid my $30K in student loans off when I was 25. Fabulous. Spent the first couple of years of my 20s living in employer provided housing, making bad money and banking as much as I could. I do not have a fancy salary, $60K to be exact. Oh, great. So that means everybody can identify with you since you don't make 3 figures. A lot of complaints on the Ramsey show chat, and even here on the Dave Ramsey subreddit about, oh, those people make $100,000. Why do they have problems if they have $100,000? They don't consider that the people that make $100,000, they also have the same ratio you do in debt, or probably more, because when you make more, you have more room to get in trouble with. And so you should be able to relate to them, because they are in more trouble than you are, despite that high income. Now, granted, if they decide to start doing the right things, they can make that happen faster than you can because of that big shovel. And so if they start living more like you live, then they can pay off a whole bunch more stuff, and they can do that really quickly. So, but you should be able to relate to them. 60K to be exact. Here are my numbers. Salary 60K will go up 3% to 5% annually from here. Schwab brokerage account 75K. Vanguard 401K 12.5K. John Hancock 401K 5.5K. We have a Vanguard 401K and a John Hancock 401K. Why at both places? Unless you have one left over from a previous job, maybe. 5.5K. Oh, that was a John Hancock 401K. Checking is 6K. Rent after utilities and stuff. He's not saying stuff. I don't see the need to do language for no reason, especially when you're saying you're debt free. Yeah, too much of that. Never mind. We'll just skip it then. Too much of that. There's no need to say S on that all the time. And you almost qualified, sir, for the Price is Right winning theme, but not now. Too many S words. There's no need for them. No need. Tired husband, 22. Late start. How am I doing? I'm 49. Partner. If you're a tired husband, that's not your partner, sir. That's your wife. We started everything late in life, married 8 years ago, have 2 kids under 7 years old, started retirement saving late too. A bunch of us did. No consumer debt or car loan, started our 401k 18 months ago and now 49k in it previously. Previously on Tired Husband 22. I was paying into pension at a lower paying job. Have another 200k in IRAs. Okay, maybe a little bit too much into investment heavy, maybe. I have a small $1,200 a month pension that will begin when I'm 65. I have 30k in 529s, 250k left on mortgage. Home value is 560k. I'm planning to work until 67. Wife earns 50k in healthcare support job and wants to try real estate sales. I earn 150k in tech job. Yeah, so it seems like you're doing all right, but back off now. Simmer down now. In that investing, you should be doing 15% of gross household income into retirement. No more of that. No other savings other than your emergency fund and if any sinking funds that you need. So you would be paying off that 250k left on your mortgage if you would like to follow Mr. Ramsey's guidelines. Invest or debt payoff, a dilemma. Not really. It just depends on if you want to follow the proven advice or not, or you just want to do what you want to do. So, but apparently you need some other people's opinions in order to make that decision. So let's see what the dealio is. 26 man, I make approximately 63k a year, plus a couple $100 a month from the Air National Guard service. In normal circumstances, I'm married and have no dependents. I have 2 debts, a couch payment. Gotta sit, I guess. 80 a month, 1.5k left, 0% APR. And a car payment, 20k left. I don't care about the percentage rate because it doesn't matter one bit. No student loans, college degree. But I'm pretty confident I can either land a job to triple, if not easily double my yearly income doing some contractor work. Less talking about it and doing it then. Tripling my income, tripling it, would only last a couple years due to the amount of travel. 2 months on, 2 months off. Traveling to either a nice area or austere environments, okay? I've been able to save 30k while on deployment and should have 35k total when I get back and would like to buy a home roughly around, again, you're doing it wrong. You pay off the debt first. Are you not familiar with the baby steps? You came to Reddit/Dave Ramsey. Are you familiar with his baby steps, sir? That would be $1,000 emergency fund first. That would mean paying off all non-mortgage debt. So you're not even thinking about no house yet. I know that was a double negative. Meant to do that. So you're doing it wrong. And then full emergency fund. And then that's when you save the down payment for a house. You're doing it wrong. So it's not really I mean, the investor debt payoff, that's doing it wrong anyway, because it would definitely be debt payoff. It's not a dilemma. It's easy. If you want to follow proven advice for it, you just do that, and it's very easy. Otherwise, you can do what you want, and we'll see what happens. But generally, baby steps would be the answer, because that is proven, and your way is not. Let's see. The company I work for has been paying me differential while I've been deployed, and they have what I'll just call a buyback program where you can invest a lump sum into your 401k or Roth. If you had been working there all along, they still honor your match benefit. I think I would be roughly putting in 2.2k in there when I get back. My dilemma is that paying off my car probably saves me about 1.5k in interest. Yep. Over the next 65 months, whereas putting in the retirements over the next 65 months might negate that interest lost. It might, but it's also in a retirement account, so it doesn't, because you paying it off is money you don't have to send to the car company anymore. You would still have to send payments to the loan. Even if you did have that money in retirement, you're shuffling it over into a place where you can't get at it without penalty and, of course, taxes. Keep in mind that I want to buy a house towards the end of 24. I don't know if that's happening. I don't know if you can do that fast. And we'll be using my VA loan, also not recommended, so no down payment, just closing costs, also not recommended. Need to do some homework on buying a home, like if you should or not, which the answer is no. Too long, didn't read, too late for that. I'm able to pay off my car right now, so stop right there and do it. Don't read anymore. Or I can invest that money and hope to beat my car's APR. Why hope to do something? Why not do something that works, which is be debt-free and follow the baby steps. And then you can get your, maybe not all right away like you want it, but then you can have your car paid off. You can be out of debt. You can have a full emergency fund. You can save the down payment, and then you can have a house. Maybe not as soon as you want it, but you can have it. And I want to buy a home at the end of the year. You can do that, but I mean, that's just going to be more and more debt over and over. But I don't want to screw myself paying off the car too soon. You cannot screw yourself by getting out of debt. That does not hurt you in any way whatsoever. You just can't get a house as fast as you want to. Wah. My goal for the next 5 years is to be making 150K, be ready to buy another house by that time. Why? Why buy the first house if you're going to just upgrade later? After 5 years? And rent out the previous property and have zero debt other than the mortgages. No, and so that is not how you do that either. Rental property is paid for in cash, and you can't, it's not a loophole for you to use your previous residential mortgage to be a rental, and then you get another mortgage on top of that. Oh, you know what you get? You get, oh, I can't remember his name. Yanesh, I think his name was. Ghostbusters 2. Everything you're doing is bad. I want you to know this. I need to pull that actual clip instead of that, like with him actually saying it. That way I can get a drink or something during that time. But yeah, you're doing it wrong. So wrong, sir. Doing it so wrong. Thanks for your National Guard service, though, sir. Delicious umpire. Interesting. 782. Following Ramsey results in increased our insurance rate. I just received my boat insurance renewal from Geico. It appears they raised my rates because I paid off my auto loan. I did not qualify for the lowest rate because of the reason G12, which states months since oldest auto account opened, verified in last 5 years is between 14 and 27. Optimum value is more than 103 months. Score will improve with time as auto accounts get older. This is totally ridiculous. How can the optimum value of 103 months be achieved looking at the last 5-year window, of which the maximum is 60 months? Right? It's just gobbledygook, and they just raised your rate. So if I owe money on a vehicle, I'm at a lower risk, right? So it's just crap. So what you would do is you would go away from the get-go and you would look at other insurance companies and say, bye, Felicia, to the Geico. The get-go should not be doing you like that, sir. Designer Metal 6218. Baby step 4, currently I'm contributing 15% of my bi-weekly income to my TSP, this thrift savings plan. That would be your military 401k, with a 5% employer match going into my employer-sponsored Roth IRA. I don't know that they can do that. I think it has to be a traditional. I don't think they can. Oh, it's the government. Maybe they can because it's a government thing. Maybe they're exempt from that. So, okay. Would this suffice for baby step 4, or should I also invest another 15% and another 10 into my personal Roth IRA or account? I think the employer-sponsored one is not a Roth IRA. I don't think it's an IRA because you can't have 2 IRAs. You can't have 2 Roth IRAs. Except like if you do a backdoor Roth IRA, you can open a Roth IRA every single year, and you can just put that 1 year's amount in it. And you can open one of those like that every year, but you can't have, because I mean, you can have, I guess you can have as many as you want, but your maximum in all of them can't be more than the max it would be in one of them. So I don't understand that. I think the person might be wrong about that. You remember like how I told you previously on answering your financial questions, for the if you have a Roth 401k, the match needs to be put in a traditional, because they can't put a match free money into a tax advantaged account, or at least into the Roth. They can into the pre-tax, which is the traditional 401k. So I think you may have this backwards. If it is Roth IRA, but I think it could be a Roth TSP, and he's just not getting it correctly. So, or I may be wrong as well, so I don't know. But you should be putting 15%. 15% of your biweekly income. Yeah. So if you're doing 15% of your gross household income, or your income, and the other spouse, if making income, does theirs, then 15% is fine. That's all you need to put in. So you don't need to put 15% in, or even 10% in, to each account that you have. That's the total. You can spread it out among accounts, and indeed that's sometimes necessary, because you would do whatever gives you the match first, because that is 100% rate of return. So definitely do that first. And then after that, then Roth would be best, because it's no tax on the growth. And then the traditional one, where you don't have to pay taxes on the contributions. And so that rule applies, but you don't. So that's where you would have different ones, different accounts, but you don't need more than one. unless you have to for the specific match reason, if it's a match for a Roth account. And with the government, it being a TSP, there may be special rules involved with that, but you still only need to do 15%. Because if you did 15% into one account and 15% into the other account, that would be 30%. And a lot of people think that they don't understand the 15% of household income. They think that means 15% from each spouse, 15%, 15%. They think that equals 30% of household. It does not. 15% here, 15% here. Those are the two people in the household. And so that equals 15% of household. You don't add it. Sell or keep rent second home. Not unless you, and APR doesn't matter in the regards of becoming a landlord. You don't become a landlord because you're moving. I feel like for me, this is an almost impossible question to answer. No, it's not. With infinite variables, no, it's not. You're just in your head too much. You're thinking too much about it. But I'll drop the critical info I think will help someone give input. Abruptly move across country for work. Okay, that was your decision. Kept house, renting out $5,000 a month. Why did you do that from across the country? Are you making profit having somebody else run it? Because I'm assuming since you're not in that town anymore, somebody else is running it. Bank payment with insurance, $48 plus $350 to a property manager. $350 is not bad. $48. So, and even with the, but rental property should not have a mortgage on it. So, if you have two mortgages now, you're doing it wrong. And so to fix it, you would sell the rental. So slightly in the red for now, yeah. And like the roof on that would never break and you would never have to fix anything in it. So don't worry about being even more in the red. No, you absolutely worry about that stuff. $750K left on mortgage, doesn't matter. Interest rates don't matter. FMV. Full maturity value around $1.5 to $1.6 million. Approximately 80 equity. Yeah, that's then. That's not now. $800K equity. Yeah, that's not now, dog. Bought new home, $500K mortgage at 6%. $700K. Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Obvious large write-offs for 2 times interest. Yeah, you don't pay out what is it, $4,800 for this one and whatever is the next one. You don't pay off you don't pay out that much money to something a month just so you get the government to forgive a small percentage of that amount on your taxes. That's not a great, people think they're getting around the system a lot by doing that. So that's like, okay, I'm going to pay the bank $1,000 and they're going to cut $100 off of my taxes. That is not good finance. So that doesn't matter. You can claim $30K depreciation on first house, which altogether eliminates all income tax associated with the rental for now. It doesn't. Income tax is not the problem. The problem is you have 2 mortgages. And if you want to follow Mr. Ramsey's advice, you're on the Dave Ramsey subreddit. Capital gains exclusion would apply mid 2026. That's $75K. Feel like that's a key cog in this decision. It's really not. It's really not. The only thing you need to say is, I have mortgages on 2 houses. And then you can get the Ramsey advice right there. None of your other little situation matters. None of it. Your age doesn't matter. Your retirement situation doesn't matter. At that point, you're still selling the rental house. I can swing both houses. Doesn't matter. If you can swing it, what's the problem? Why are you asking a question? Would like to throw money at remodeling house a bit. So you want to go more into debt. Everything you're doing here is bad. I can't decide if it's better to live out this once in a lifetime, sub 3% bill, or realize profit in a home I'll likely never live in again. Yeah, you sell it. Right now, you're doing everything wrong. Everything you're doing there is bad. And don't know if that's dead on other stuff. Would not surprise me, but you never know. Hopefully not. How much do you really save? Debit versus credit card spending behavior. Some people spend the same because it's just a card. Some people don't. That's different per person. But all of the studies have said that using a card, you spend more money. Whether it's debit or credit card, you spend more money than if you have to pay cash. Dixie two-tone at 5.5K and 0%. Doesn't matter. Credit debt. 5.5K in stocks. Leave debt or pay stocks. That's not really... What do you mean pay stocks? You mean cash out the stocks and pay off the debt? Yes. If it's, as long as it's not in a retirement account, yes, you would do that. Today. Actually tomorrow, because today's Sunday. I mean, you can go ahead and do the selling, but it wouldn't take place until tomorrow. SDB 00913. Doctor told me I need a vacation and a hobby, but I feel I have too much debt for either. 35 man, baby step 2. I gross 100K for a year as a paramedic in a low cost of living area. Wait, did that say my doctor told me I need a vacation and a hobby, but I feel I have too much debt for either? Yeah, so you don't do that. So the vacation is out and your hobby is paying off your freaking debt then. Staying with family as I put my life back together. Ran from a domestic violence situation back in September 22. I have significant debt, personal loans, total, yeah, bunch of debt, and 20K in student loans that I, due to strange stroke of luck, haven't had to pay on yet. It's coming. I checked Nelnet, and my first pay isn't due till September of this year, so it's coming. Child support, etc., etc. Yeah, no vacation, and your hobby needs to be doing the baby steps. You put baby step 2 now down there, so you must be planning on it. Do you see on there anywhere budget a vacation? Now, if it was going to be anywhere, it would be like baby step 3A. Because 3B is taken. That's a save a down payment. You could put vacation at baby step 3A would be the first time that you could do that. So make your hobby paying off your debt. Mac Air 83, torn between two financial decisions, feeling like a fool. Torn between saving, investment, and buying a new car. Well, the new car's out if you are trying to adhere to any bit of what Dave Ramsey is talking about. Let's see. So the answer would be ding, 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 baby steps. I'm interested in getting some perspective on should my wife and I continue to save until we have enough money for a rental property, or is it okay for me to buy a new car for myself? If you have $1 million net worth, you can do that. It says we follow the Ramsey plan and we're on baby step 7. However, why is there a however? There's always a however. I'm struggling with whether we should continue to save until we have cash for a rental property, around $300,000, or buy myself a new car. Here's our financial breakdown. Married, both 40, 2 kids, boy 7, girl 4. How about, have we addressed, is your house paid off? Oh, you said baby step 7, so house must be paid off and kids' college must be addressed. Okay, so fine. It's fine with me. If you're a millionaire, you can buy a new car. If you are not a millionaire, you can buy a year-old car or more, like some kind of toy. It sounds like it's a toy. It doesn't sound like it's like, oh, my beater's messed up, I got to get something else. This sounds like a step 7 person wanting a new car for myself. And that's fine. That means you just can't put that $50,000+ into something else, such as buying a rental property. And since it's two of you in that marriage, you have to work that out with spouse, not run it by Reddit first. So, but that's the deal. It doesn't, the little stuff here, your income right now, your what you make potential for promotion next year, which will be blah, blah, blah. None of that crap matters. What matters is you both need to make the decision on that. Communication, compromise, and if you can't do that, then the third C, which is counseling. Always. But yeah, shouldn't be a new car unless you are a millionaire, which means you have $1 million net worth. If you have a paid off house and no debt, then theoretically could be a millionaire. And so if you are, then knock yourself out. If not, keep it to a used car, a used new to you car. Kooky ad, kill mortgage or feed retirement. You feed retirement up to 15%, or at least 15%, no more than 15%, while you still have a mortgage. So only at 15% do you do retirement. Not sure if we're on baby step 4 or baby step 6. Well, baby step 4 lasts forever. You do 4, 5, and 6 at the same time. So if you are doing 15%, then you're on step 6. Because baby step 4 never ends. So you just start doing it and don't stop it unless you have some kind of emergency or decide to save a down payment or something like that. Then that's when you could stop it. But otherwise, you never stop it, not even in retirement, unless you need that money to live off of instead of put it into investing. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you invest and make more money? Looking for help with the math and what to do next. Married couple, late 40s. Household income is approximately What up, A9? I did not notice you there 20 minutes ago. I apologize. Thanks for dropping by. And yes, hashtag YDIW. Yep, you're doing it wrong. I do say that quite often. Where were we? Combined retirement, blah, blah, blah. Household income, blah, blah, blah. No, I mean, none of that matters. You have retirement you're doing, and you're going to pay off the mortgage. And this says right over here on the baby steps, baby step 6. Let me scroll it up so that it's even with your name and the title, kill mortgage or feed retirement. That says pay off your mortgage earlier. This says 15%. So if you're doing 15%, you don't do more to feed retirement. You pay off your mortgage earlier. Maxed out Roth IRA. And this year, we also finished paying off $130K in student loans. Okay. So that's why you are debt free. Except the $160K mortgage at 3%. And so you're trying to pay that off. Have an earmarked emergency fund, $25K. Right, so you're all good. We have a $20K in separate high yield savings account marked as a general savings. $10K in checking. You wouldn't have the general savings. You would have if you consider that general savings like a sinking fund for like tires or anything else you might need that you need every so often, like every X amount of years, that kind of thing, fine. But earmarking something as general savings means it's just like a piggy bank that I can use when I want to go get a toy. And so once you're on step 7, that's fine. But before you do that, you should have the house paid off. So yeah, it's pay off the house more than do more than 15%. So you're not saying we budget monthly and can put approximately $5K toward a financial goal. How about the one that you're on, which is pay off mortgage early? Again, assuming you're doing 15%. So you would do the 15%, and then anything left over after that, assuming that that would be $5K because you're investing money already taken out of that probably. So I'm assuming that you could do that. Yes, it would be kill mortgage first. After the mortgage is gone, you can put that entire payment into retirement if you'd like. It's fine with me. Understanding 15% contribution to 401k. Oh, ventilate 3 hours ago. Can anyone clarify what contributing 15% towards retirement 401k means? I'm not quite understanding how the breakdown is supposed to work. Breakdown. Tom Petty. Are you supposed to contribute 15% of your income directly to retirement or as part of what the company contributes as well? You put 15% of your money into retirement. Any match or anything the company does is gravy on the biscuit. That means extra. So Dave wants you to have 15% of skin in the game there. I contribute 10%, doing it wrong. It's supposed to be 15. Boom, boom, boom. The company also provides 6% of 401k from my base income. Does this mean I'm contributing? No. You put 15% of your money that you're choosing to do. Whatever the company does is not part of that 15%. And, oh my goodness, it's the last question. I'll resort it and see if there's something new there. But my goodness, out of questions. And they have 1,000. So let's see, when's, no, I worked yesterday, so I'm not working the next Saturday. So no after show this week, but there will be one on April 3rd. So there'll be plenty of questions by that time. Interesting scenario for me and my wife regarding our upcoming first home. Advice requested. Let's go ahead and break it out to the whole question here. My wife and I recently got married. Hell yeah. And her parents came to us with a proposition for us. Probably no. With no pressure to say yes or no, just something they wanted to offer up. It's very nice of them, whatever it was. For context, we have around $150K to use as a down payment for our upcoming first home. Her parents told us that they will outright buy a place for us in cash, which includes the $150K that we give them to supplement the overall purchase price. And whatever they put into the purchase, which would be the majority of the overall cost, if we only put up the amount for a down payment, we would pay them back over the life of the loan that we'd otherwise take from a bank. Example, typical 15-year or 30-year at 0% interest. Yes, 0% interest. Yeah, I get it, and I see why you would be excited about that, but neither a borrower nor lender be. Is the advice. And so, nope, you don't do that. You not doing that ensures that you will not change the family dynamic between them. There will not be any uncomfortableness because you owe them money, etc., etc. Now, if they want to buy a house and completely give it to you, that will still probably change the relationship. But if they just want to give you the whole thing and you don't have to pay them back, then that's not a loan. That's a different thing. And I'd be more up for that. But generally, that's probably no on that too. Just because it does change the, because anything from then on out is like, well, we bought a house for you. Or you owe us money. Like for anything, you never know. You never know what they could want from you in return and say, well, you owe us this money, so why won't you do this favor? What do y'all think about the proposition? I know there are probably more details that you need. Not at all. People give too many details most times. Every once in a while they do leave out important ones, like if they have any debt. And you as well did not say if you have any current debt. And so you're not buying a house if you have any debt. I wouldn't even move into a free house if I had debt. I would take care of the debt first and save up full emergency fund before I took on the responsibility of owning a house. We would still aim to have our overall housing expense to our parents at 25% of our combined net income. Now, you would aim for it until they want more or something like that. And so that's, when it's with family or friends or something like that, it's just not the same as you getting it from a financial institution. Financial institution, you have everything in writing. So there's not, feelings don't get involved there. When it's family or friends, feelings get involved. And so this is going to be a no from Dave and a no from me, dog. And we did that one already. Let's sort by new and see if we got another one. Oh, we got a couple more. How about that? Oh, several more. Wow. All right, what time is it? Well, let's see if we can go through them really quick. Military housing investing. In the military, so move every 1 to 3 years. No house you're renting. You can invest. Does it make sense to max out TSP later, and later use that money to pay cash for a house? No, that's a retirement account. That's not a savings account for you. No, don't do that. How do you stay on track? I'm talking about unexpected payments that have to be made when you're not even on baby step 1 yet. How is it unexpected? And, if it's a payment, it's not unexpected. If you're talking about unexpected expenses that come up, yeah, those do happen, and then you have to be even more diligent about spending less money. You have to buy only necessities, and anything that's not a necessity is not an unexpected payment. That's something you don't do. Should I reduce retirement savings? Only if you, this is where I veered the furthest from Dave. It would be only if you're saving for a down payment. And that would only be for 3 years maximum. Would you do that for? No debt outside of home, emergency fund in place. Great. We have prioritized retirement savings through our mid-20s and have max 2 Roth and 1 401k over the last 5 years. Okay, great. As of right now, we have 251k in retirement savings at 28. Still babies, so fabulous shape. And have maxed both IRAs for 2024. What is the issue here? We will make just shy of 150k. And I really want to drop our retirement savings back to a flat 15%. What's wrong with that? I've run it through a compound interest calculator, et cetera, et cetera. So let's find out why. What do they want to do? I mean, you want to have some fun, budget some fun stuff? Yeah, do that. Drop it to 15 and do whatever else you want to do with the movie. Move the rest of the money. $10 million portfolio at 60. Yeah, you'll be fine. What is it that you want to do? We're currently, here we go, in a 1250. All the up above was just, here's the justification section, and here's the thing that we want to do. We're currently, that we somehow need advice on. We're currently in a 1250 square foot house with 2 kids. That's fine, and would like to upgrade in-house as rates start dropping. Is our only debt at 145k, owed at 316, and worth around 220k. So we have 75k in equity put towards a new home as it is. So they want to upgrade. That's fine. Go ahead. You're selling that other house. You're not keeping it as a first house and second house. You're not keeping it as a rental house not being paid off. So you sell it and you use that 75k and you can move up in the house and you can get another mortgage for that new house, and it would fit in with Dave's guidelines on that. So yeah, that's fine. Can someone give me more detailed explanation of Dave's logic on paying off mortgage that is lower than what you're making in your investments? Yeah, it's called debt leverage, and Dave is against debt leverage, so I don't know how you understand that. And the reason you don't understand that is because you don't factor in risk, and it's less risk if you have a paid off mortgage than if you have debt. Debt is more risk than no debt. And so that doesn't outweigh the extra 1 to maybe at best 5% extra that you could be making from the difference. But also that mortgage has that interest already on it. That's the whole thing. Like say you have a $200,000 mortgage, right? Oh, okay. Mortgage is currently 116K at 3%. Okay, so that's 116K. So the problem is it's not even because you're not putting 116K into whatever investment it is. You're putting a little bit at a time, so you're actually losing money until it hits that even point. After, through years of growth and years of you feeding that instead of paying off the mortgage. So you follow me? So you're actually losing money. And so if you don't understand that math, I don't get how you can be so financially sophisticated and not understand that much of it. Because again, unless you have 116 laying around and can put that in an investment, you're not doing a 1-for-1 situation. And also, if you had 116,000 laying around, why wouldn't you pay off the 116K and then you could invest the mortgage amount? So true glitch. So that would be the Dave's logic, and that's actually math. But again, even if you were making a little bit on interest, it's not gonna be much. But and then the people of course would say, but it's 1% more than it would be if I paid off my mortgage. Yeah, but having the mortgage is risk, and it's less risk if you do not have a mortgage payment any longer. All right, dare I check it one more time? Yep. All right, so we'll let Mr. Financial, Mr. Smarty. Yeah, you're actually losing money again until that would be up to where it matches the amount of the mortgage payment. You can't compare it because if you put $20 in there, what is that going to make compared to the interest at 3% on 116K at one time? So you're doing math wrong too. In addition to doing the baby steps wrong, following Dave's advice wrong, you're doing math wrong as well. So congratulations. It's a full wrong party. That'd be a good song. There's a song called Dead Man's Party that I could do that with. I don't know. I probably won't do that. All right. So one more time, calendly.com. I'm not changing the ticker though, because I'll have that fixed. Hopefully I can fix that tonight to see why my schedule's not working on Calendly. But if you would like to schedule that financial consultation assessment, you can do that by just emailing me, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. I am a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you've got money problems or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule that with me. Again, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. You can email me with any questions about coaching, or like if you have one question about Dave stuff and you don't want to put it on the Reddit for me to read later, you can just ask, or anything going on my YouTube channel, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Channel donations go to PayPal.me/CoachSteveMoney. Also Cash App $CoachSteveMoney. Walmart gift card to coachstevemoney@gmail.com. This show answering your financial questions Saturday and Sunday 4 p.m. Eastern. The Ramsey Show after show is Wednesday April 3rd and Thursday April 18th. You can add me on the gram at Coach Steve Money. Of course, the YouTube channel is youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. What up, Matty Bags? What up, Obs? Obs headed out. Just wanted to say hi. Congrats on 1,000 followers. Thank you so very much, Obs. I appreciate you being one of them. How many subs do I have now? I think it's 1,010, I believe now. Last time I checked. Let's check just for Matty. Let's do that. Oh, it doesn't tell me there. Does it tell me there? No, it doesn't tell me there. I think it was last time I checked, it was 1,010. So, which is 1.01K subscribers. So, again, thanks to you, Maddie, for that, and everybody else that has subscribed. I appreciate it very, very much. And as always, the best is to come. Make smart financial decisions every day.